We did our evaluation on a 2.5-year-old girl who has a TBI that she got when she was about 5 months old. She had left sided spasticity, um, bilateral lower extremity weakness, um, and definite spasticity in the left upper extremity. She has had PT and OT services about 4 times a week since the accident, as far as we could tell. And her Peabody results, her stationary skills were not significantly below, but she was in the 25th percentile, so they are a little bit below average. Her locomotion was in the 19th percentile, and she was definitely 2 standard deviations away from the mean score, so that was significant. And object manipulation was also more than 2 standard deviations below the mean score, so that is also significant. And she was placed in the first percentile for that. And her gross motor quotient score was also in the first percentile.
So we narrowed down the problem areas that we saw during our evaluation, and we decided that weak core and poor posture led her to need support in sitting, standing, and ambulation. She had definite gait deviations that affected her ambulation, especially for long distances. She had difficulty going up and down stairs, which could affect her at the home and throughout the community. And she had difficulties holding objects in her left hand. So she had difficulty playing with more than two toys at a time, and could also lead to difficulties in self-feeding later on. So our single main problem area that we want to focus on is her weak core. So we realize that that's involved in all active positions, and it impacts her sitting, standing, ambulating, balance, strength, and her body mechanics. So that's what we really want to focus on.
Some of the difficulties that we had working with our patient was to get her to perform certain movements. She got distracted with some of the toys that we had, and we had a difficult time getting her attention and just agreeing to some of the movements that we wanted her to do. Another area that we noticed that she has difficulty is that her choice sitting position is W sitting, so also indicating that she has a weak core. And then we are also just kind of wondering about the proper support that we need to give her. We notice that she does have some impulsiveness when she walks, and just some struggles understanding or figuring out her balance with that.
So some interventions that we thought we could do with her next week was an obstacle course to help with gait training, such as walking over hula hoops and like differentiating between the level to make it a little harder or easier for her, walking on dots or walking in a straight line to help with that balance there. And then also sitting on a bench and putting blocks in a basket, so reaching outside of their base of support to help with core strengthening and balance. And instead of a bench, you could also put them on a ball, which would increase the core strength that it requires. Also, doing sit-to-stands from a bench, so that would promote strengthening of the lower extremity and also help promote proper sitting and get out of that W sitting a little bit. And then playing with the dollhouse or object manipulation, especially trying to work with that left hand. It has a lot more spasticity, but she has developed a way to like grab stuff with it still. So just working on that a little bit more. And lastly, standing and ambulating without upper extremity support. So when she would walk, she liked to lean against the wall and stuff. So we just want to build up her stamina and endurance while she walks. So future things to research for us that could help us in our interventions would just be research pediatric TBI interventions. We don't really know a lot right now about TBIs with pediatrics, so we were going to search that. And then tips for increasing her attention. It seemed like when she was completing tasks, her attention and focus kind of deviated between like the task and something else going on around her. And then lastly, interventions for her postural control, balance, and ambulation post-TBI.